first episode of the Barstoolers Premier League podcast. In the first episode of the show, we'll be discussing the upcoming Premier League season. We'll be talking about all transfer activity that's happened, talking about potential relegation candidates, the race for top 4 and the title race, and previewing the opening set of fixtures. We hope you enjoy. Right lads, first episode of the podcast, how are we feeling?
Surreal. It's good to be back on the YouTube and other platforms. Yeah, looking forward to get started now, talking about the upcoming season. Should be good, looking forward to it.
Do we need to introduce ourselves in any way?
I'm sure we do, for all the new listeners.
If you haven't seen the channel intro, which should be up by now, or it is up, I'm Connell and I'm a United fan. I'm going to be the host for today as such, but I don't think I'll be talking any more than the other lads. So if you want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm James. I'm a Liverpool fan. There's a strong Liverpool connection to the podcast, as you'll see. So.
And I'm Michael, and I'm also a fan of the current defending Premier League champions, also known as Liverpool. You love to see it. First league title in many, many years, but looking forward to the new season ahead.
It might be your last for a few years. Nah, I can't say that. Or shit. I have no leg to stand on. Right then. So, Premier League season starting again on Saturday. Natural thing to talk about, I think, is transfers. Have teams strengthened? Have they been weakened? Will we start with the big teams?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right. We can't really ignore the elephant in the room. Chelsea. What a window they've had.
Chelsea. They are very COVID-proof with the Russian oligarchy that they've got going on. So the dollars just keep rolling, you know. So crazy Havertz,
Yeah, that was a great signing. He's what, 21, is he, Kai Havertz?
Oof, around that.
He had a bit of a mute season there last season compared to his previous breakout season, but still, what a prospect. And Bundesliga will sorely miss him.
I think 70 million now. It seems like a lot of money now, but if he's going what everyone thinks that he's going to be, 70 million might be cheap.
Yeah. And of course, you have to remember Chelsea, they did balance the books really well with Hazard and the FFP, or not FFP breaches, it was youth player signings, wasn't it? And they were half a transfer window without signing. So it all stacks up, and they're pretty good on the books, even though it does look like a massive spending spree in isolation.
Absolutely. Yeah, Havertz was 72, rising to 90, I think, a pound.
And what are
it's a massive signing. Is he the one signing you're looking out for? Do you think he's going to be the best out of all the lot?
I'm looking forward to Werner now.
Yes,
I wanted him at Liverpool, so it'll be interesting. Kind of hope he flops just because we didn't get him, but I think he'll be a great signing now.
Well, I'm sceptical to look out at a Werner because of a few seasons ago, you'll know I had a big thing for Lacazette. He was my boy. And I mean, he pretty much flopped then first season. What did he get, 12 goals in all comps or something ludicrously low?
Werner is very good though.
But Werner is very good. Younger age profile. And yeah, he's rapid and he does look good, but we'll wait and see.
Anytime I've watched Werner, I haven't really been that impressed with him, but I know that's a really small sample. I'm not watching the Bundesliga.
Yeah, you're watching him in isolation in Europe and stuff, yeah.
I know he's absolutely rapid, so that obviously that's a good thing against certain defences, but I'd like to see what he's like against a low block. He could be incredible. I could be chatting at me whole, but...
Yeah, I'd like to see what Chelsea are like generally against the low block, because you'd see the massive problems they had against, lesser opposition teams. Obviously, the Blades were very well organised last season, but remember they went away to them and it was just carnage like that. I'm still not convinced by that Chelsea backline, even with reinforcements like Chilwell.
I think Thiago Silva could be a good signing. They generally have problems at centre-back. Rudiger is always injured. And you think now Azpilicueta will be coming in playing centre-back. They'll probably play Reece James out in the right now for the rest of the season. So Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta centre-back partnership could be pretty good, but Chelsea, they really need to get a new goalkeeper. Kepa is awful.
Yeah, and that's a short-term fix too. You know, Azpi's still coming to the twilight years of his career, and let's not talk about Thiago Silva, and then Reece James still does need to prove himself a bit, so still a lot of questions to answer there.
James, you're on about how they'd struggle against backlines, or low blocks rather, in general, and I agree with you in terms of last season, but one lad they've brought in who looks class against a low block is Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah,
and he's another one where I'm really not sure how he's going to be. I think he could be amazing or complete bust, because obviously United signed Van de Beek, so I was watching videos of him in like the Eredivisie and stuff.
And the two of them would link up. Yeah.
Some of the passes Ziyech is putting into him. What an absolute baller.
Yeah. And I think you were talking a week or so ago about the positional difficulties Chelsea will have fitting him into the system as well. You know, whether they shift him out to the right or not, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him.
I think he played on the right quite a lot for Ajax because Van de Beek was in that position.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think that was a mistake on my part, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a lot of signings. You've seen teams make a lot of signings before and struggled massively. Like when Fulham came up a couple of years ago, QPR.
Yeah.
Even United under Van Gaal.
I think the calibre of the signings are very good.
It's different also with a newly promoted team signing a load of players. Like Villa spent a load last season, and they stayed up because of a goal line VAR malfunction. Think about it against Blades. Like the ball went over the line, first game back at the restart.
What was that, £130 million like net spend or something?
Yeah,
well, not
they
net
spent
spend,
loads. And then the year before, Fulham buying your man Seri from Nice, was it?
Yeah. I mean, the Villa wasn't
still there.
Yeah, he is actually there.
No, I think he's at Galatasaray.
I think he came back though, did he?
He did. He came back. Yeah. I've seen him being interviewed there. But yeah, no. So, any other standout transfers, winners of the windows that aren't Chelsea?
I think Chelsea, Chilwell, we didn't even mention, could be a good signing.
Yeah, I think
quite a lot of money, but you pay for quality.
Well, they had Alonso and Emerson playing left back, and like Alonso,
exactly.
All he does is take free kicks.
Yeah, he's a good wing back.
He's not very reliable.
No.
Yeah.
Need to buy a keeper. I know they're looking at Onana, but they're probably going to have to, if they're looking at him, you wouldn't be surprised they break the goalkeeping transfer record again.
Yeah, very possibly.
Yeah, you would hope they wouldn't do that second time around, but no, there's not that, and there's not enough quality in the goalkeeping market. It's such a premium position. You see, like United, even like with David De Gea and Dean Henderson, like they're spoiled for choice, whereas everyone else is not so much.
I know they were looking at Donnarumma from AC Milan, but he'd be big money as well.
I've seen some people linking Oblak with Chelsea, but Romano's come out and said absolutely no way, that's not happening. So we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. What's the age profile of Oblak as well at this stage?
30-something.
Yeah, ballpark. 30.
I know Liverpool were looking at him the year they signed Alisson. I know I really wanted Oblak at the time because I thought he was a really good shot stopper, and he was class against Liverpool in the Champions League. Unbelievable. I've never been so frustrated watching a game, but glad we got Alisson in the end.
We had the polar opposite that then the end last season. We had Adrian, you know. So
yeah, look great.
So look at Arsenal's business. It's a little bit weird. They've brought in Willian in a free, which isn't a bad bit of business, but he's on crazy money.
He's on crazy. He could unsettle the squad a bit. Like
how crazy is crazy?
I think something got to 200 grand a week.
Yeah,
for Willian, for Willian.
My God.
And it's Arsenal. This isn't United or City who can afford it. It's Arsenal.
And this is Willian who, prior to last season, didn't get more than 6 goals in the Prem, wasn't it?
Exactly. He had a very good season last year, but I don't think, what is he, 31, 32? You don't improve as a footballer that much. You just get lucky in a season like that.
It was like he was just playing for the Chelsea contract, and then they were just like, nah.
And obviously the centre-back's been a problem for Arsenal too. What do we think of Magalhaes?
I don't know what to think. I seen United linked with him, and we definitely were interested. But I remember I was watching a video on it or something, and I think it was Statman Dave or something, and he's basically saying, yeah, he's not exactly the type of centre-back United want. He's not very quick, not very athletic. So I wasn't too upset about us missing out on him. It's hard to know.
Yeah,
he's playing in Liga and
they brought Ceballos in again on a loan. I was not impressed with him. I didn't think he was great last season, but obviously that's what United or Arsenal need, then, you know. I
feel unnecessarily passionate about him. I absolutely hate him. I think he's a terrible... Look, okay, he's not a terrible footballer. Obviously, he isn't. He's been at Real Madrid, he's been at Arsenal. But he's one player who I don't see the point of him. I don't see what he does at all. He's got okay passing. I've got okay passing. If you give me a few yards at 5-a-side, I can set you through. He's got nothing else. He's weak. He's unfit. I don't rate him at all.
And of course, Real are having their own problems, so they're after restructuring their loan deals. So Ceballos is actually costing Arsenal more this season. They have to pay 100% of the wage packet this season as opposed to whatever it was last season. So
they've actually brought in Cedric as well on a free transfer. He was on loan there.
I think he played. Didn't he play in the Community Shield? I think he did. Can't be.
Cedric, has been playing. Like, you know, for most people, they knew around the club knew it was going to be done for a while. That is what it is, you know. A bit of defensive cover. He's experienced.
Yeah, Bellerin's probably still going to be the starter there, so I suppose he's not too bad as a backup.
But Bellerin's been linked now with PSG. Apparently, Bellerin's at the door, so.
Very possibly. They actually brought in Pablo Mari as well, who was on loan as well. They brought him in for 7 million, made it a permanent. Very strange. He's like 26, 27, and they've bought him from the Brazilian league.
To be fair, it is a very Arsenal transfer window. And Maitland-Niles might be going out the door as well to Wolves. They lose him. Like I really like Maitland-Niles. Like, if he goes, that could be Arsenal completely out the race now for top 4.
News in recently enough that the Wolves fans were disgruntled. They lost Doherty there, and for good reason. The deal for Maitland-Niles is apparently off the table.
I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
But I really rate him as a player. When I seen that move was supposed to happen, I loved it. I think he's brilliant for Wolves. I actually love the man just because I had him with Spurs on Football Manager, and he could just play anywhere. I love him.
I think he's getting gross underappreciation under Arteta at Arsenal, so hopefully next season they can really unlock his real position and send him away.
He got man of the match in the Community Shield last weekend. He was very good.
He's a victim of his own utility.
Utility, yes.
Yeah, exactly. He can play anywhere. I really rate him. Look at City's deals. They brought in Nathan Ake for 41 million. Not entirely convinced for that price, but a good backup.
I'm not a fan, but you can't judge City in the same light as everyone else because they're just going to have cash to burn. So you can basically, a Liverpool or United, they're going to come in at 2025, be a bit shrewd. But in this market, even in this market, City don't care.
He's a grand player, but if he signed for 41 million for Liverpool, I wouldn't be happy. He's a grand backup, but City, they do need that extra cover now in defence. Like when Laporte got injured last year, and they had to play Fernandinho in centre back, they dropped a lot more points than they would without him.
The Achilles heel is going to be the Champions League, and the test of it's going to be when we come back this time next year and say, "Oh, look, Ake and that partnership wasn't settled. Left-footed centre backs. Oh, it might have cost them again." You know, it might be the same old story. We'll just have to wait and see.
Koulibaly's been linked as well. He's big money though, and he's getting quite old. Well, I say old. He's getting on for a footballer in his 30s. Napoli looking for big money for him.
Yeah, usually a centre-back, I wouldn't really mind age that much. He's 29, but when Koulibaly's whole thing is his athleticism, his prowess, he's quick, he's big. So you're going to lose that when you get into your early 30s. So I think he'd be brilliant for a season or two, but as a long-term investment, I think they're looking about 75 million, 80 million, not too pushing that.
Yeah, but City were the Guardiola project, so maybe Guardiola's thinking one more big season, we'll go to League, Champions League, and then after that, I'm out the door. You can rebuild whatever way you want, you know. So.
If they did get Messi, the league was finished. There would have been no point even trying. But
this podcast wouldn't have started.
Yeah. Oh my God, Messi joining City would have been the be all and end all of football.
They've also brought in some lad, Ferran Torres, apparently quite good, just under 21 million. So
he scored for Spain against Ukraine there on, well, for us it was last night, at the time of recording last night, which was Sunday evening. Good goal, but obviously I only saw the highlights there on YouTube, so can't get the whole picture, and you can't get a whole picture of a player off of one game. So
yeah, he's only a young fella, so I think it's a bit of backup.
Very potential project.
He's probably okay. Yeah, I can't really talk too much about the man. Now, obviously, Liverpool, you two are Liverpool fans, so you're going to be able to talk about this more than I can. The only deal you've got over the line at the minute is Tsimikas. Is that correct?
I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but he's the Greek fullback.
Is he any good?
He looks good on the surface of it, but look what Robertson looked like when he brought him in for £8.5 million. Like, didn't look like an awful lot. Bit of cover for Moreno, who people will forget played a good 12-15 games at the start of that season. Robertson was on the bench. You know, it's very hard to judge these signings coming in. Is he in the same mold where there is a plan for him, a path to the first team? We'll just have to wait and see, really.
It's good cover.
He is 23, I believe.
Okay.
He's got good athleticism and pace, and that's sort of what you need, but not too sure about the defensive capabilities at the minute.
The word in the street is he's tested positive for coronavirus. It's the word coming out of Greece. So, that's his biggest contribution to the club so far.
Yeah, there's a couple of players tested positive today for someone. But
a couple of City players.
I know Pogba has.
Mahrez anyway.
Mahrez, yeah. Liverpool, I'd love to get Thiago in, but obviously Liverpool being awful stingy with the deal. It's looking like Wijnaldum's out the door for cheap. Like, he's 15-20 million. Like, I'd hate to see Wijnaldum go.
But I think we need to separate ourselves from that, because if you look at him objectively back end of the season, a lot of proper Reds on Twitter will get mad when people call out Wijnaldum, but he's been the weakest in that midfield three, the back end of that season.
Just an engine.
He is an engine, and I love him. He's a lovely guy, but Wijnaldum for Thiago, weigh that up.
You could do worse.
Like Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago. It's not a bad midfield now.
I've seen Romano not Romano, pretty much every outlet saying that obviously Liverpool's interest is long established, and I still think he'll go there. But apparently United are interested. Whether we'll make a move or not, I don't know. And apparently Barca as well. Barca might want him back. They might be coming into the mix. So it'll be very interesting to see where that deal goes. Whoever is getting him is getting a brilliant footballer.
Yeah,
for quite cheap.
You never know with Barca, with Koeman, that could just be a ploy to unsettle the Wijnaldum dynamic at Liverpool. I don't know. World of football transfers.
Wijnaldum would probably be a good fit for Barca, considering he's played in the Netherlands setup with Koeman as his coach. And he was played as more of an attacking midfielder, so he's getting goals and assists.
He did, but he's not a Barca signing. I'm really not convinced with the state of La Liga at the minute. I'm not an avid observer of La Liga, as you know, but just to look at Real, the business they're doing, and Barcelona, the financial mismanagement is crazy over there. So
I think their 10th best player is on 200 grand a week or something. Titi is on the gutsy 250k, and then Frankie de Jong's on 400 grand a week. God knows what Messi's on,
My God.
So do you think Thiago will happen?
Yeah, I'm still optimistic,
Yeah, I'd like to think it'll go. Fingers crossed anyways,
Yeah, I've always have faith in the transfer committee these days.
Yeah, I'd have to agree as well.
We're going to move on to any other mid-table sort of struggling clubs to see what business they're doing.
Well, mid-table struggling club, maybe United, possibly this season. We'll see.
Hey.
Obviously, I can speak a little bit more. Donny van de Beek in for 34 million. I think that's a brilliant sign, and he's not going to start a huge amount of games, certainly not in the Premier League, but an absolutely brilliant option to have, because last season, if we needed a result, we had Pogba on the pitch, we had Fernandes on the pitch, and we couldn't afford to take them off. It didn't matter if they were playing badly, if they were wrecked, which there would have been, a lot of gains at the end of last season. Who are you going to bring on? Mata? Pereira? Van de Beek, brilliant value for money signing. Is quite happy the way in which we got that deal done. Saturday we were linked, Sunday evening it was done, which is very unlike United.
What type of a midfielder is he? Is he attacking? Is he centre mid? Is he box to box?
He reminds me a bit of Thomas Muller. In the Champions League run, he played in the number 10 position, but he'd always find himself in space. Then De Jong left, so he played deeper, so he could play both.
And he was so clutch against Spurs. I remember thinking it was done and sealed and delivered when they were away at the Lane, or whatever you want to call that new stadium, in those black Ajax kits, and he just sunk one past Lloris. I was like, this is it. This is the team.
And Sancho, it's hard to say what the situation is on him. I think ultimately we will end up getting him, but it's just...
Will it be this season? I'm not convinced that a big money move like this late in the transfer window is going to go through.
Basically, the way I'm looking at it is that if United come out of this window without Sancho, it doesn't matter who else we sign, it will be a failure. And everyone will say that, because he is our undoubted number one target, and he'd improve our team much.
If I was Solskjaer, I wouldn't even go for another body in his position. I'd just be drumming at home to Ed Woodward, just like, this is our guy, and I'm sure he knows it. I'm sure Ed Woodward knows.
Apparently he has. Some Norwegian journalist said that.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Now.
He said fix it, like. And the thing about Sancho, it's like, oh, do you want to pay that money in the coronavirus market? Sancho's not going to be cheaper next year. He's going to develop. He's going to get more expensive. So I think ultimately we will end up getting him done. Another player we're linked with. Sorry,
yeah, and ultimately United are a global superpower, and that's not going to change next year. So pay the money now. Why not? Like,
Yeah.
If Sancho came in, would Greenwood stay at the club or would he go out on loan for a year, do you think?
He'd definitely stay. We need him as an option. Like, him coming off the bench, all he needs is one half a yard of space and it's a goal.
Yeah,
so
I really like Greenwood.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
He got sent home from the England squad for him and Foden had a few warming over.
Some tomfoolery, but sure.
Few
Good
breaches. Job. Yeah, the lads, like.
At least they're not Kyle Walker. So
Foden's has a child.
Yeah.
Foden has a child. I'm fairly sure he's like a fiance or something.
Pretty sure he's younger than. I'm pretty sure he's younger than us. Like,
he's around our age, 20.
Yeah, but sure, he's the best player Pep Guardiola has ever seen. You know.
Very true.
That is the word.
Another player United are linked to is Reguilon. I won't speak too much on it because it's still vague links, but he's a Sevilla left back. He did absolutely brilliantly against us in the semi-final. It's Wan-Bissaka's worst game in a United shirt, and that was Reguilon coming in that side. So hopefully this time next week in the podcast, there's been some updates.
Reguilon sounds like a debt collecting farm or something. Doesn't sound like a footballer.
Yeah.
He had a team of the season card in FIFA, so he can't be bad. That's how I judge players on.
FIFA's never wrong.
FIFA is always right. That's what you stand by. The FIFA database, like, it's always right.
Yeah, so United have been offered him for around 25 million, so hopefully we take that. But any other transfers for the smaller clubs that have caught your eye?
Well, like, going back to one of the bigger clubs, a great signing, Doherty to Spurs. I think that's a class signing. Doherty, I love Matt Doherty. Unbelievable. So they obviously strengthened. They got rid of Walker Peters to Southampton, who's on I think he was 6-month loan there last season. I didn't know he went until I was watching one of the games. So they have him out. Obviously, Serge Aurier, he's a bit of a loose cannon. Then Doherty in. Oh, he's class. Love him.
Yeah, we need to take our Irish tinted glasses off for a bit, but like even just looking at the fee on its own is enough to just go fair play. Great job, Levy. That.
It's a good signing because in terms of value for money, and even if you looked at Aurier's role in Mourinho's system last year, he was basically a winger.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the same at Matt Doherty, but just at a better level. And he's not going to give away penalties every week.
And the biggest sign in Spurs, man, Joe Hart, after he was released from Burnley, snapped him up, bargain, on a free. You love to see it.
And of course, Emil Højbjerg as well.
In fairness, Nick Pope's very good.
Yeah, I
like him.
A bit of a bulldog.
A bit of a weird one, but good option to have.
Yeah, Wanyama was gone, so I think he's a bit of a sort of backup replacement. Do you think like Eric Dyer as well plays there? Like, he's not very good.
So I'm looking at some other transfers here. Leeds have had a very busy window. Rodrigo,
very busy.
They've signed the most. They've made the most signings. 9 signings at the time of recording. It's the most out of any Premier League team, and they broke their transfer record after 16 years out of the top flight. £27 million for Rodrigo from Valencia. Has the potential to be a good signing.
Yeah, you'd hope with Bielsa at the helm, like he knows Spain inside out. Like you'd think that he would make great value out of this market. Like that's all you can really say.
He's starting striker for Spain, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the last few years he's come into the Spain squad.
That Spanish national team it's all the hallmarks of just a very funky team. It's very strange at the minute.
Yeah, quite strange. Well, Rodrigo, I think he only scored 4 goals in La Liga last season. It's not great for 27 million.
In 34 games last season, he had 8 goals, 9 assists. Do you think like that's your club record fee and he's a striker playing for probably one of the biggest clubs in Spain, getting 8 goals? Like,
but then you think maybe it is a Leeds signing. We have to put it in that context as well.
But in terms of the fee, it's a lot of money. You know what I mean?
27 million.
Well, he might have a sort of Firmino-esque role because he is that sort of centre forward rather than a striker.
All right. So he's quick now. I know that much.
And of course, we knew a proven striker in the Premier League is Callum Wilson, who's after going to Newcastle United, who've done a bit of business, a big turnaround in the window for Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce's men. Yeah,
they made a few good signings. Obviously, another Irishman. They got in Jeff Hendricks after he was released from Burnley. They got Jamal Lewis, who at the time, Liverpool, earlier on transfer window, Liverpool were looking at him and Norwich said, anything under 25 million, we're not going to accept it. And then Newcastle get a bit accepted for 13.5 million. So obviously that would have been...
Good player.
Yeah, he is good. And who else did Newcastle signed? Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson. 2 players who obviously very bad season last year with Bournemouth getting relegated. But the season before, Fraser, very good. Callum Wilson, great striker, was linked with Chelsea. 50 million Bournemouth were looking for at the time.
So of course, you're a victim of Fraser's success there, Connell. He was like breaking the assist records nearly for you around Europe, and then he completely cooled off.
Yeah, he's I don't know, like he had a brilliant season in 18-19. He was a great fantasy football option to have. But before then he wasn't great. And then obviously 19-20 last season he wasn't great again. So was that 18-19? It was a bit of a fluke. We'll see. But it's a free transfer. So it's
I know
definitely good.
Liverpool were looking at him as well, looking to get him in sort of backup because they're probably looking to offload Shaqiri. And at the time when you hear after off a good season of 18-19, but then if you were to say Liverpool would sign him now, I wouldn't say I'd be buzzing about it.
Wouldn't be impressed,
like,
no.
Oh, that's all right now, but
you want another front three player to make that step up that Shaqiri could clearly never do, and you don't want someone to just exactly fill Shaqiri's shoes to the letter, you know.
He's tiny, isn't he? He's like 5'5".
He is tiny, similar profile. But like, look at that though. Like that's instant. Like they have better options already. Like Saint-Maximin, Fraser coming at you, Wilson. Like that's shaping up to be a lot better for next season.
Yeah, but Newcastle are also an absolute disaster of a club. You have to remember that they have a good core in attacking sense, but also they spent big money on Joe Linton last year, who was an absolute bust.
Yeah, that was a very skeptical deal from the get-go. I think everyone called that out as well. So how do you end up?
It was a weird signing because at Hoffenheim, this brought him from. He was, again, as I say, sort of played that Firmino role where he wasn't really a goal-scoring striker, but he's quite good. And then Newcastle brought him in and got Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce has never heard of a false nine in his life. Do you mean he likes Andy Carroll up front? So they bought a player who just can't play in that system at all. Just really poor.
Yeah, very poor.
And then
I feel sorry for him.
Their back four isn't great. They have a good keeper. I think Dubravka is quite a good keeper. He's a good shot stopper, but obviously a good shot stopper can only get you so far in the league. Obviously Newcastle wouldn't be looking for top four, but they're a team that's always in and around the relegation talk. So
yeah, I think look like as it is right now, I think they're going to be safe.
Yeah.
So absolutely. We're going to talk about our predictions soon, and I had them in and around there. But since then, they've brought in Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, and look to be bringing in Jamal Lewis, so that might well have changed it. Quickly, any other transfers? I'm looking at Fabio Silva to Wolves, 40 million euros.
Yeah,
big transfer.
18-year-old. That's big money for a teenager. Another Portuguese man to add to Nuno's army.
They actually brought in another one as well, some centre-back from Lyon, another Portuguese. It's crazy.
All right. I know a signing that didn't happen that could have big implications for the rest of the season. Ben White not going to Leeds. Obviously, Shane Duffy went, so then that led the way. Ben White signed a new contract with Brighton. So obviously Ben White helped Leeds get promoted, leading them to the second best defence in the Championship.
Like White, Webster, Dunk, like you think they'd be mad to like let go of someone like White, you know?
That's also
three of the best centre backs in the league.
Liverpool were interested in White, and Leeds had a bid rejected 25 million. Brighton were like, yeah, no, we want 35. So that's a big loss now for Leeds not getting him.
I'm actually surprised United haven't been linked with him. 35 million, he looks like a very good centre-back. Exactly the type of centre-back we need
to complement Maguire. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
you piss off Leeds fans then if he goes. Like,
be brilliant. Oh, be brilliant. Another one, the last one I think we'll go over is Grady Diangana to West Brom. And I'm only mentioning this because he looked quite good in the Championship last year. He was on loan from West Ham to West Brom. And Mark Noble came out and tweeted that he was sad, angry and disappointed.
Huge loss for the club, like state of that tweet, but
Well, it shows they really. So I think there's one to look out for. Right, I think we've exhausted all transfer talk. No doubt there'll be more transfers to talk about this time next week. So we're going to quickly go over some kits. Is there any kits you love or hate?
Yes,
I hate the Wolves away kit. It is disgusting.
Agreed.
Not a big fan of the home kit either. Like I thought the home one last year was so clean. Like this year,
it's intentionally provocative, that away kit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I can respect that, but I feel like it could have been nice. If you look at the cuffs of the sleeves, they have like navy for some reason, and it just doesn't go with the black Adidas and the black Wolves, and then it's got the blue. It's all over the place.
I'm a big fan of the Leicester away. Sorry, I think it's
that lesser
beautiful,
jersey is tidy.
especially that like sleeve sponsor, like that Vietnam logo, whatever that's for.
Palace have got really nice away jerseys. Across their home, away, and third, it's the same template, and it doesn't work for me at all with the home, but the away ones are very nice.
No, I'm not a big fan of the Palace colour schemes the best at times. Not the colour schemes, the jerseys, they just never stand out for me. They're never up there. Arsenal
I actually do like them.
There.
Yeah, Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal always have nice. Well, when they had the Puma jerseys, they were rotten, but the last couple of seasons, like, they have been tasty now.
Adidas are just, they're saving all the good stuff for Arsenal in the Prem, which is all the
drip.
Chelsea's third and United's third are also disgraceful.
Oh yeah,
they're
bad.
Really, really bad.
Yeah,
Liverpool's third's pretty bad. In my opinion,
it hasn't been officially confirmed though yet, but it's been leaked. But yeah, it's not great.
Black and grey, sort of checkered.
And the Nike haven't done an amazing job for Liverpool, and this is like their flagship club in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Well, in fairness, I like the home kit, and the away kit I didn't like at first because it's blue. Liverpool shouldn't be wearing blue jerseys, but then you look into it and find out, and I actually do like it.
I like the concept of it all being cut from the same cloth. Like at the start, I was kind of like, it's a bit mad, and then you find like no two jerseys are the same, and I quite like that.
Yeah, but like Nike have this whole sustainability gimmick, and like they're going to use that to charge 100 quid for a jersey.
Adidas did that. They made like the plastic like said the jerseys out of plastic. They did like the Real and Bayern ones. They were really nice.
Yeah, United had one like for the Oceans or whatever. It was a navy one a couple of years ago. It was nice.
Yeah, I remember that. That was nice. Yeah,
but United's third kit, the zebra kit.
And Wan-Bissaka for better crossing. He's getting the zebra crossing like it's massive.
Are we going to talk about Goldenboot now? Who do you think for top scorer?
I think Aubameyang coming into towards the end of his contract. Obviously, if he has a good season, a lot of the bigger clubs like the European heavyweights like Real Madrid might come knocking. So if he has a big season, Arsenal give him a bigger contract, or he gets a big money move somewhere else.
You're looking at the usual suspects for winning the Golden Boot. You're looking at Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy, and Aguero. Harry Kane under Mourinho, I'm not fully convinced because he plays as sort of like a hold-up man for Mourinho. I don't think he's going to get as many goals this season. And then Aguero's getting on a bit. Aguero's getting on a bit. He's a bit injury-prone. Yeah. He might get rotated more. Vardy, he's going to have to just stop being so quick soon. He's like super doses on caffeine and like Red Bulls and stuff. So I'm going to go with an outside bet.
That's what he does.
We've talked about him already, and I don't know if I'm fully convinced by him, but I'm just going to put my neck in the line. I'm going to go with Werner.
Oh, that's a nice outside bet.
That's bold.
I was debating that myself, but I'm going to go for just an old reliable. It was a toss between Aubameyang and Salah. I'm just going to go Salah. Why not? I don't think it's going to be a high scoring Golden Boots. So there we go.
Yeah, it'll be a different sort of season. Obviously, the start of the season will be. Is it behind closed doors now to start, or are they having like limited fan capacity? Yeah, so there wasn't big.
Yeah, Brighton are trying limited fan capacity to start with.
Yeah, they had a friendly there with Chelsea a couple of weeks ago, and there were 3,000 fans there, yeah.
So basically what we're saying is put the wife and kids on either Werner, Salah, or Mixer. Who's your shout?
Auba.
So put your house and kids in one of them. Right, so if we're talking about some predictions for the season, I think it's fair enough to start with the relegation battle. My table from 20th upwards, I'm going to go 20th Fulham. They're hopeless. They haven't really brought in anyone. Inexperienced manager and Scott Parker. I don't see how they stay up. Then I've actually changed it. I'm going to go with West Brom 19th. Originally, I had them 18th just because they've got some good players and I really like Slaven Bilic as a manager. I think he's good. And then Villa just missing out on survival.
I have the same clubs going down as you.
Originally, I had Newcastle, but then they've brought in two really good players and possibly Jamal Lewis. So I think that'll just be enough to bring them over the line.
I have West Brom finishing bottom. I just think their defence, they're not going to be able to hold up against the men, like the Salahs, the Manes, the Agueros. Like, I think they're just going to get ripped to pieces. So I've them finishing bottom. I've Fulham. I did quite like Fulham as a club, but obviously they got through to the playoffs, got relegated after spending all that money. Think they're just going to go down again. And Villa hung on by the skin of their teeth I think they're going down. If Grealish goes 100%, Aston Villa are getting relegated.
Yeah, like
that's fair.
we loved the Brentford Moneyball story last year, so we had sort of have it in for Fulham anyway before the season. So I have them 20th as well for the same reasons as you, Connell. Very inexperienced, just a mess of a club at the minute, just yo-yoing between those two divisions. You can see for a while. I had someone different, but you can't really argue against West Brom going down, which is unfortunate. You never like to see 2 out of the 3 go down, and then again Villa narrowly missing out on safety because they just don't have it about them. Like, they were very, very lucky last year, has to be said. So,
100%.
Yeah.
So not much argument there, really.
No, that's the first.
No,
I think Newcastle will just stay up because I just don't really rate Bruce as a manager.
There
And
will
they've got
always be a few clubs hovering around there, like Palace, Brighton, Newcastle. Like, they're always going to be in the talk.
yeah,
I'll
but
put 16th.
you'd like to like give West Brom more dues because they came second in the championship, and like they were comfortable enough at the end, but you just can't.
They just a lack of quality. Well, in fairness, Dean Ghana and Pereira, but that's about it. You look past that, it's like Jake Livermore and
Robson Kanu
and Dwight Gale. Like, it's not good enough.
Charlie Austin.
All the boys, really.
Yeah, it's really lack of quality. But Bilic, I like him.
I'm going to go for a top 6 now.
Yeah. Okay, so 6th, I have Spurs, just because I endured about 2.5 years of Jose Mourinho, and I realised that he's got some qualities to him, of course. He's a great coach, but he's done. He hasn't adapted to the modern game. Spurs have probably the weakest squad out of the top 6, so I don't see how they finished any higher than 6th. 5th, Arsenal. Couple of okay signings. Arteta seems to be doing a good job with them. They've got some good individual quality in the likes of Aubameyang, and I suppose that's about it. But yeah, I think they'll just miss out in top 4. 4th, I have United. So I think we'll finish one place lower than last year, but I think we'll get better points. So, some people said United finishing 3rd isn't an achievement. It isn't, but also you can't expect us to finish any higher, especially now that Chelsea are as good as they are. So I'll go with Chelsea 3rd, because their team's just so good that they're going to win a lot of games. 2nd, Liverpool, and then obviously the champions would be City, I think. I don't know. I had to pick one of them, and I think City might be better this season. Liverpool got 98 points, was it, when they didn't win the league?
Yeah.
And then 96 last year?
99.
99, yeah. That's an insane amount of points, and I don't think they can keep it up. So it'll be something closer to 90. And I think City will just pip them, especially if they get Koulibaly and they have very few injuries.
Right. Well, it's hard to argue against any of those. I've gone a bit off the wall in my top 6. So we've gone Spurs. I'd like to place them higher, watching the all or nothing, as I'm sure most of you are, and, Jose Mourinho charisma and everything, but that's all it is. It's just a facade. There's nothing more to them, unfortunately. Next, in 5th place, and this is off the wall, Chelsea Football Club. I am just begging for Frank Lampard to fail. I'm not a fan of the club. And I think they are too big to fail with those signings. But, we've seen loads of signings getting thrown at a club and it not sticking before. So it might just take a settling in period that might cost them initially. And I think in 4th, I'm going to put Arsenal. I think it's going to be a close top 4 race. And I think Arteta maybe deserves more dues than he has at the minute. Like, he seems to be quite an astute tactician, learning from Pep. But depending on stuff like Bellerin going to PSG, like it is dependent on the market. Like, this is a permeable table. And then I'm going to go United in 3rd. I think it will be a big year for Solskjaer, and obviously that's dependent on things like Sancho going through, which will just be electric for them. Like that, front four. United probably will be the best team to watch next season if they grab Sancho. Like, it'll be hard to argue with against that. And next team I'm going to go for is City. I think Liverpool are going to win the title, but that's my own biases talking. I think it's honestly a coin toss. It's very, very hard to call. So that's me.
So yeah, I was this close to putting Liverpool top, but it's like I'll go over. Bit of a change up.
So I had Spurs finishing 6th. I just think they're going to be plagued with injuries again. Harry Kane can't stay fit for a full season, and then Mourinho, he plays very negative football. can't be negative going for the Champions League spots. So
No,
that's my
it's
reason
not conducive to winning
for
games.
having them sixth. Then I have the Gunners finishing fifth, simply just because their defense isn't good enough for top four also. Then between the top four, it was like third and fourth. I wasn't sure where to put them, and then first and second, it's toss up as well. But I have Chelsea finishing fourth. I just think that Kepa isn't good enough for them to finish any higher. If they do sign a new goalkeeper, like if they were to get Onana or Donnarumma, I think they would finish above United, who I have in third. So I wasn't 100% now, but Sancho coming to United would be a great sign for them. And then second, I have Liverpool, and it pains me to say that I don't think they're going to retain the Premier League. I have that simply because I don't think City are going to slip up as much as they did last season. City dropped far more points than everyone thought. Liverpool capitalised on that. All those injuries in defence, they're going to be more prepared. So I had City finishing top, won't slip up, and their depth is just crazy. Like, their bench during the games when they were able to make the 5 subs, like they were just able to kill off teams so easily.
I hope they get rid of that 5 subs rule, because that is just insane. Yeah.
The what rule?
I think that's a good. The 5 subs.
Oh yeah, that'd be disgraceful. City would walk.
I think that's a good point about depth, because it's going to be games pretty much every midweek, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of all the cup competitions and Champions League, and so yeah.
And obviously the Premier League is starting a month later than it should be.
Yeah.
Because usually it starts.
It's finishing at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Will there be a winter break?
Like can't imagine so.
Oh, I can't imagine. They were meant to implement it this year, but I can't imagine they could afford to.
It was last year.
Oh yeah, there was.
Yeah, there was a week off.
I forget that.
Right, so 2 going for City, 1 going for Liverpool. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so make sure to get in touch with the socials. They'll be in the description. And it all kicks off this Saturday. Brilliant. Right then, actually predicting the opening set of fixtures. We're going to preview 5 games. Those games are Fulham at home to Arsenal, which I like as an opening fixture. Arsenal going to Craven Cottage. Then at 5:30 kick-off on the Saturday, Liverpool Leeds, great game. Then the Sunday at 4:30, you've got Spurs at home to Everton. And then 2 games on the Monday at 8 o'clock. Brighton at home to Chelsea and Sheffield United at home to Wolves. So Fulham against Arsenal. As I said, I quite like that game. Love Craven Cottage as a ground.
Very nice ground.
I think Arsenal have to win here, really, because as we touched on, none of us rate Fulham at all.
I'm going for a drubbing here, like.
Yeah, I'm not, just because I think Fulham will be well up for first game back in the big time at home. A big game against Arsenal, but I think probably Aubameyang 1-0 or something like that. So I'm going for 1-0 myself.
Well, remember the last time they were Craven Cottage and Ramsey put on that masterclass
before
he left?
A deadly goal.
You know what I mean? That's in the back of the mind. So I've gone for 4-0 clear Arsenal win there.
I have 2-0 Arsenal, just because I think they looked very good in the Community Shield, considering they had such a small break. And it's a tough opener for Fulham to have first game back in the Premier League. But I just think Arsenal have the edge with
I forgot to mention that we're going to do a sort of game around predicting these games every week. So we're going to pick 5 games a week, and it's going to work like football results. If you don't get it right, you get 0 points. If you say Arsenal are going to win 1-0 and they win 2-0, you'll get 1 point. And if you get it bang on, 3 points. So I'm just writing down the scores here as well. We'll keep track of that. So then second game, Liverpool at home to Leeds. Again, as Liverpool fans, you'll be able to talk about it more than I will. But a brilliant game, 2 really good sides who play good stuff. Leeds get first game back the big time after 16 years, I believe.
Yeah, we do forget. Everybody hates Leeds. Like, so, like the Scousers are raging they can't get into Anfield. Like, so, but I've gone for a 1-0 Liverpool nick at like something like a Mane or something like that, because just I think Liverpool, the wind was knocked out of their sails in that break, and we just haven't looked the same. So take a bit of time to recover. So just 1-0 Liverpool.
I have a 3-1 Liverpool win. I think we're going to concede just because after the break, we kept clean sheets in 3 of the 9 games, which was good enough. But I just think after losing Ben White, Leeds will be quite weak at the back. So I think Salah Mane will probably find. I'd like to think they'll have a field day. Obviously, with Liverpool playing, it's the game I have the most interest in for the weekend.
I myself, something similar to my Fulham prediction in the terms that I think they're going to be well up for it at Anfield. Got a couple of good signings. They'll be absolutely buzzing. Like the players, Rodrigo, for example, he didn't grow up supporting Leeds, but especially the English lads will be well up for it. And I think Leeds will make it very tough for Liverpool. I'm going to go 1-1. I think Liverpool will probably go up early or something like that. And then Leeds will just nick a goal with 10, 15 minutes to go or something like that. So 1-1 for me.
Bold that.
Yeah, a little bit bold, yeah.
I was debating that myself, I have to say. I could definitely see that.
So, third game, Spurs at home to Everton. Maybe a little bit less interesting as a game, but it should be competitive at least. I watched Everton quite a bit after the restart because I had the Now TV, so I was watching most games, and it seems the fall that I ended up watching a load of Everton games. And it was pretty miserable for the most part. They don't have very many good players. Ancelotti, it's a good appointment, definitely, but just a bit short term. You look at the transfers they're making, like James Rodriguez, he's a brilliant player and a big name, but I don't see that transfer working out at all. I think it's very Everton of them. And Spurs, they're at a different level, at a better level than Everton, but probably similar in terms of I don't really have much hope for them. So I actually don't think this will be a great game, but I think quality will be evident. Cream will rise to the top. I think 1-0 Spurs.
I do think this is going to be a big game. I think this is going to be the pick of the litter of the games the weekend. I think I'm going for a 3-2 Spurs, nip it at the death. Goal like fest. A Sonny, because there've been quite a few goal fests that Spurs were involved last season. You look back at the Villa game, they won that 3-2, and there's a few other ones. Just don't have faith in that Spurs defence, and people like Richarlison can come up big in games. So yeah, 3-2.
I have a draw.
It could be much more different to me.
I have a draw 1-1. I'm not expecting anything wild from the game. Like thinking back to the Spurs-Everton game last year, one of the worst games of football I've ever seen in my entire life. Absolutely tragic.
Very bad.
So I have a 1-1. No big purchases from either squad. Like in terms of an attacking sense, it'll be a fairly uneventful game in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, but we're slightly disagreeing on the score. You think Everton will nick a point. So then the fourth game, I think, is a good game. Again, something similar to Liverpool Leeds in terms of it's two teams who play really good football, Brighton and Chelsea. It's at the MX. I'm going to go for an upset here. I'm going to go Brighton to win 2-1. I watched a fair bit of Brighton as well, and I think great stuff. And again, their centre-backs are brilliant. You go with three at the back, Ben White, Webster and Dunk. It's really good. You've got some exciting attackers, Aaron Conley, Trossard, Pascal Gross. I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 win to Brighton. Chelsea not off to a great start.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I'm just going to go for a routine Chelsea 2-1 win. There's not much to say about that. So
hard to disagree with you, but I'm sticking my neck out in the line. Love Brighton.
I have Chelsea winning by 3-0. I know they had a friendly there a couple of weeks ago. It was 1-1, but obviously the tempo is going to be completely different opening game of the season. I just think that Chelsea are going to walk all over Brighton. I think it'll be a fairly comprehensive win for the Blues.
They definitely have the potential, but I think with all them signings sort of clicking first game of the season, I'm not really having it, So then the last game we're going to preview and predict is Sheffield United at home to Wolves. Two good teams to watch last season, I think. They both play with three at the back. They're both sort of counter-attacking teams. They've got good defences. Some decent attackers, Wolves obviously more so. But I think they'll just cancel each other out. It'll end up in a state of 0-0. You
think that? Well, I'm going to go 5-2 in favour of Wolves.
Bizarre,
yeah. Why not? Spice up your life,
For me, this
is sticking your neck out in the line.
Yeah, that's just stupid. No harm.
I should get 6 points if that comes off.
I'm not agreeing to that.
I had for me this is the hardest game for me to predict. So I had Wolves just nicking it 2-1. I just think that they'll play well the first game. Obviously, Blade's very defensive as well. They'll do well in the first game, but I just think they'll peak early in the season, and then through the back end of the season, I think they'll find Doherty to be too big of a miss going forward.
Yeah, they haven't really replaced him yet.
Yeah. Well, if they get Maitland-Niles, Maitland-Niles could play fullback, but I think that's too massive of a player for them. They're going to really miss him. But I have Wolverhampton Wanderers pipping the Blades by a goal.
Okay. Well, it's hard to disagree with some of them predictions. Some of them are a little bit more safe than others.
Outrageous.
5-2 to Wolves. But look, if you get that right, I'll respect you as a man, James. I'll respect you as a man. So I think that just about wraps up the podcast for this week. I think the first podcast was a success.
Yeah, I was quite happy with how it went. Quite nervous at the start, but as we got the ball rolling, went quite well. Quite happy with it now.
There's the start of a podcasting empire. So if you're listening, keep listening. Get in the bandwagon early.
Yeah, we are.
It's going to become a dynasty. We'll be like the 2015 Golden State Warriors, just class.
We won't be able to leave our house.
Like I say, and if any listeners have any suggestions, of course, feel free to throw them at us because we're very adaptable and get involved.
Don't be afraid to get in touch with us on our socials on Instagram and on Twitter as well. You can send us a message or send us a tweet. We'll make sure to include as much as we can in the next episode.
Or if you're so inclined, shoot us an email at Barstoolers PL. It's PL for Premier League at gmail.com. So I think this will be out on Tuesday evening, I believe. So that's generally when we're going to aim to upload the podcast, Tuesday evening, maybe Wednesday. So make sure to follow us on whatever podcasting platform you're using, or subscribe to us if you're watching on the YouTube. And thanks very much. We'll be back.
Turn on
week.
Notifications on
Premier
YouTube.
League's back. The Premier League's back. What more can you wish for?
It's back, baby. It is back.